So I know that I did my unboxing for July yesterday, but I have so much of my June kit still left over because these kits are so big, and I still have lots and lots of my June kit. So I decided I was going to go ahead and make one more layout and one more video with my June kit, which is the Horizon kit, and I decided I wanted to do a bunch of mixed media and do kind of a take on a monochromatic layout with a ton of mixed media. So you see all the little pots and jars. I kind of had a field day with my Rascal cart, and I pulled just about everything that I thought would work for this layout. I am using some shimmers, dazzlers in foiled again, and then I'm going to make a strip of Vicky Bouton art crayons, which I'm just going to smudge with my finger, as you do. And I just have so much stuff. Okay, so we're going to use some Dilutions paint. And then before the dazzlers dry, so Shimmers products, dazzlers take forever to dry. They stay wet forever. So that gave me plenty of time to go ahead and cut a strip of this acetate. And then I'm going to push it into the wet paste, which turns out amazing. It kind of glues that piece of acetate down. And if you don't like to use clear translucent elements like acetate on your pages because you feel like they don't, there's no way to really hold them down, there you go. Fabulous way of holding them down. So I put a strip of Dilutions paint. This is jade. It's the jade paint. I'm not sure what the whole name of it is, but it's jade. And then this is some Salt of the Earth pasties. And then I'm going to take my acetate and smush another piece of it into the pasty. So the pasty doesn't dries a little bit quicker than the dazzlers, so I'm kind of quickly doing that so I can push it in. Then I want to give this a little bit more texture and want a little bit more messy brush strokes, yeah? And then I'm just going to keep going on here. So I feel like I'm saying and then 50,000 times, but really that's all it is. So all this is just to create this background, you pick a color that you want because you want it, for this layout I wanted it to be primarily like kind of monochromatic. I mean, it's not 100% monochromatic, but pretty close. And then pick all of your mixed media supplies that you think will work with those colors or your design, and add a metallic maybe like I did with the foiled again, and then just start painting. That little pot of paint is Peacock Strut from Shimmers, and then some more foiled again. So I will tell you this, dazzlers have a shelf life. Actually, in my experience, all shimmers have a shelf life. They do tend to, depending on your climate, the dazzlers will get hard in the jar. And I've had a couple of my paints kind of start to smell funny. So my advice is that if you have dazzlers, use them, don't hoard them. Use them quickly, don't hoard them because they do have an expiration date. I personally do not even remotely have a problem with that because I tend to use my dazzlers, well, my shimmers pretty quickly, especially those little pots of paint. Ugh, go through those like crazy. So what I did here was, so up at the top, I mixed Dilutions with a little bit of heavy body acrylic to give it a lighter. For this part, I mixed the Dilutions plate paint with some Salt of the Earth pasties, which gave it a darker, more saturated kind of look. It also allowed me to do a little bit more with some texture. So I'm going to set that aside to dry. Oh, but first, we need more acetate. So I really enjoyed acetate, using the acetate in this kit, but I've discovered a couple things. First of all, you can't die cut it with a metal die. You can't punch it, but it cuts really nice. So you can use it as strips or as a large element or a background on a page, but yeah, it cuts easy, but it doesn't really adhere, you know, like you can't punch it into different shapes, which is okay. The next thing I want to do with it is I want to make some little like squared off or rectangled off embellishment clusters with the clear Amy Tangerine stamps. That layout will be coming soon. It's on my to-do list before I call this kit killed and done and stop working with it. But that will probably end up not being a video. It will probably just end up being in the Clique Facebook group. So what I'm doing here is I'm matting my photo, and I'm using this roll paper because I didn't really have a use for it as a full sheet. Didn't have any kind of stories or pictures or anything I wanted to tell that would need a map. But the colors, those colors were exactly what I needed on my layout. Those were kind of like the inspiration colors. So I'm going to go ahead and map my photo with it so you just see the colors. And then I have all of these embellishments. So I'm going to decide where my photo, and then I want some black splatters. So this is Shimmer's Night Moves, and I'm just putting a ton of splatters in the top left and bottom right of my photo, just to give it a pop of black. A little pop of black is always a good idea, in my scrapbooking opinion. Just saying. So then I'm going to go ahead and continue and put my photo down. I'm going to put my photo on. And if you're wondering how I clean my table, that's it. Baby wipe. Done. I'm like the MacGyver of scrapbooking because I don't like, I don't know. I like to go around and take what I have and just use it. Like, you know, old glass picture frames and baby wipes. I'm also a minimalist. So I don't like, and I have a tiny, tiny craft area, so I use a lot of paper towels and baby wipes, and I use them in, like, you know, in my house, because, and then I have them, and then I'm like, oh, well, I'll just grab this and use it for my scrapbooking. It's kind of how it does, how I roll. So I'm using that acrylic piece as my title, and then I had to kind of fudge around with the letters. I wanted to put, this is a picture of my nephew, and I wanted to put his age on it, right? But there's only one number 1 in the stickers kit. So I don't know what was up with that, but I decided that the tops of 2 exclamation points would have to do. So, also, if you want to know how to color these stickers, go check out Christina Sorge did a video yesterday. If you don't follow her, you need to. That's all I'm saying. And she has a YouTube video where she shows you how to color those Dear Lizzie thickers. It's on my to-do list. I want to try it. She experimented and it worked, and so now I want to take her experimentation and apply it to a scrapbook layout. Right? Okay. So lots of embellishments here. I went through all the embellishments and I pulled out just the ones that were in my color scheme for this particular layout. So I'm just going to go ahead and start gluing everything down. Everything I'm gluing down with Scotch, tacky glue, and in my fine line bottle, because when you are using things like mixed media and acetate, I find that wet glue is what you need. I'm sure there's other wet glues you can use. I recently purchased an entire pot of Ranger matte medium, but I haven't even used it. I also bought these like cool little syringy things to load it up in, so you can just do like a little squirt. But again, I haven't opened it or done anything with it yet. So it's on my to-do list, guys. It's on my to-do list. All right, so I used one of the cut apart cards as a little spot at the top left to put the year of this photo. I always want to try when I'm doing these yearly pictures of my nieces. Well, it will be nieces, but right now it's just one. My niece and my nephews. I always try to add the year and how old they are, just so I can keep track of stuff when I'm looking through my album. So my way of dealing with the gigantic ephemera from Bella Boulevard in this kit is to cut it in half. All of it. So all the ephemera in this kit is, well, not all of it, but the the Bella Boulevard ephemera. It's these gigantic flowers. They're huge. And so what I'm going to do is cut them in half. And I kind of started that for another layout too. The last layout I used them on, I cut them in half too. So we'll just cut them in half. That's what we're doing. Alright, this is kind of boring watching me like glue everything down. I don't know why I left all this in here. I know, because while I was editing this, I got distracted by children. Or child, because my oldest is now 18. Oh! And we took him yesterday to talk with a counselor about him starting some college classes and getting some job experience. And it was funny because he had to sign a paper saying that she was allowed to talk to me. That the counselor was allowed to talk to me. That was pretty awesomely funny. Alright, a couple of puffy stickers will finish off this layout, and then we're pretty much done. A little bit of Hickory Smoke gray ink along the edges of my layout, just to give it a little bit of dimension. I had thought about doing like a black border with a pen border, but because of the mixed media at the top and bottom, I was like, that might not work. So, and that will complete our layout for today. Thank you so much for stopping by. Have a fabulous, fabulous day. And yes, I did a 12 by 12 layout because I still do them. There's some older albums that are 12 by 12 that need to be finished. So you'll see them pop in here every now and then. I will see you all again soon. Bye.